Let's have a little chat, shall we? Time for a little chatty chat. Oh God, every time I get ready to do something. Why did my mother send me this picture of this ugly ass, hideous woman that she knows I cannot stand? I do not know why. Girl, you have not aged well, and that's just my opinion. My mother know I don't like that damn lady. Why you send me that ugly lady's picture, mother? I'll call you later and talk about that. You did that because you knew I was going to say something shady, and I did. Anyway, let's have a little chat, shall we? Um, I was up late last night, but then again, I'm always up late last night. Or I'm always up late at night. I'm always up late at night. And some information came through from my universe, my innerverse, or whatever you want to call it. I call it the innerverse. Y'all call it the universe because I deal with the real universe, which is the original universe, which is inside of me. And that universe out there is a copy of what's inside of my mind and my essence. But that's another story. And I was having a conversation with my innerverse, my spirit, my soul, whatever you want to call it, right? And we were talking. I was talking, not with words, but with energy, with frequency, with vibration. And it made me realize something. I forget what I was watching, but whatever I was watching, it triggered this conversation. And it made me realize something. We have been bamboozled into believing what others tell us as if it's a prayer book. And I'm just looking at culture and changes over the years, and not just in the current time, but in different waves and phases throughout time, even before I was born. You see, excuse me, the 1970s was a real golden opportunity for people in general. This video is not just for one particular group, not this time. The 1970s was a golden era and people missed it. And those that did not miss it, they were really raptured into and shifted into a higher state of consciousness because there was some form of portal or gateway that was open spiritually at that time in the 70s before I was even born. There was a golden opportunity, I want to say more so in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, even as far back as the mid 60s. My uncle told me, and this is an uncle that I never really got along with like that, but he told me that in the 1950s, they did a lot of weird fucking rituals and a lot of weird things happened in the 1950s. I don't know what he was talking about, but he was telling me that. So that would make sense that then in the 60s, it was about revolution. In the 70s, it was about revolution. And people coming into their own power. There was a golden opportunity that was missed in the 1970s. There was some form of portal or spiritual nexus point that was trying to get people's attention. And some people got it and others did not. Others did not. And there was a golden opportunity that was missed, especially for melanated people, but ultimately for all people. because the 1970s was really a time where there was a lot of people, getting back into nature and spirituality and, the occult, not a cult, but the occult. Getting into the unknown world, which is our world as black people. I'm going to say something very, very controversial, and I don't give a fuck who gets offended, but I'm going to say it. And it's not meant to offend, it's meant to examine. And even Bobby Hemmett said this himself. He referenced this. Black people are not good at acting. And the reason we're not good at that, a lot of us, is because that's not our realm. That's not our world. White people are better at that. I don't care who gets offended. They're better at that because that's their realm. That's why they're better at it. Our realm is the innerverse, the universe, and the spiritual realm. That's our realm, or the quantum, or the quantum realm. What the fuck is this shit?
Enough for you.
The fuck is that shit?
Your favorite drinks?
What the fuck? Sorry about that. Some ad popped up, but that's not our realm. So therefore, we're sitting up as black people looking for all of this, recognition from the Hollywood community. We want to be accepted by the Hollywood community and the community in Hollywood and the industry. Truthfully, our industry and our shit is singing and music. That's really our realm too, because that comes from the universe. Melodies and those frequencies come from the universe. And I forgot why I got on this topic. I don't know. But the point that I'm making is this. We don't have a mind of our own anymore. And I'm talking about as a society across the board. And going back to the 1970s, that was a prime time to get some real motherfucking shit done on a spiritual level. And we missed it, most of us. I wasn't born. We missed it. Our parents missed it. Because they were too busy out there doing what they were doing, and they didn't really understand what was going on in the universe at that time. You get what I'm saying? We didn't really understand it, but there was a major opportunity for true spiritual evolvement to take place in the 1970s. But then the 1980s came along and they rocked us to sleep. The 1980s came along and they shifted, the energy shifted, and it was more so about wait, give me a second, because that's annoying me. It was more so about self-indulgence. It was about self-indulgence, and it was about me. That's what the 1980s was all about. It was about self-indulgence, who had the most money, who could fuck over the most people. But at least probably up until maybe around, I want to say the 2010s is when shit started really going. I started really seeing a shift in people's consciousness. But even still, even in the 80s, people still maintained and retained a sense of self, meaning an original identity, an original foundation. Even within the 80s and even within the 90s, there was still an original soul that you can identify with. And I did not start noticing things going a little to the left as far as people's consciousness until around maybe the 2010s. Truthfully, when they started bringing people in like the Kardashians and all of those other weirdos, that is when I started to notice that there was a change in the consciousness, especially of black people. So now, here we are in 2022. I'm old now. Shit, I'm old. I don't care what nobody say. I'm saying I'm old. I ain't saying I'm old now. Shit, that's because of the shit my life experiences. That's what makes me old, not because I'm decrepit. Because if you saw my face, if I took this, you would say, oh, he doesn't look like he's in his 40s. Right, I wouldn't. But now we're in 2022, and I'm just going back to the past, and I'm examining what happened then, and I'm comparing it to now. And I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. You have to even go back to American Horror Story season 7. That season, was called Cult. And it was basically telling you everything that was going to happen in the current time that we live in now. Because most of these people that we follow, they follow somebody else too that we don't even know. And I'm using we as a metaphor because I don't really follow anybody. There are people that I admire. There are people I have respect for their consciousness, but I don't follow anybody. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Insta trash. I'm not on any of that crap. But I've noticed that we've become a very plastic society. We've become a very plastic society. And especially as black people and Americans in general, we've become very plastic and we believe whatever people say. We believe whatever we see in social media. Oh, that must be true. We don't examine anything. I was just having a conversation with my husband today, and we were talking about how people believe whatever is being told to them. He was really talking about black people in terms of politics and how black people have been bamboozled by the Democratic, aka the liberal Nazi party. Yeah, that's what they are, in my opinion. And I was watching The View, and Sunny Hostin, and I have nothing against that sister, I don't have nothing against her, but she made a statement that was really, really untrue. And I too used to drink the Kool-Aid. Let me confess. I too used to think the Democratic Party was good. I had that ignorance and that childlike mind as well. And I'm not saying that the Republican Party is good, but for Sunny Hostin to refer to the Republican Party as a group of extremists and racists in totality, I think that is not only dangerous, I think that is misinformation, and I think it's propaganda. And it ties into mind control, fear tactics, and spell work. She is Puerto Rican, right? And I'm saying Puerto Rican to be funny. She's Puerto Rican, right? You know she do some motherfucking spell work. You know she do. You know her abuela did some spell work to help her get where she's at. You know she did. Let's be honest. So did Ana Navarro's family. You know their abuelas helped them to get to where they're at. They did that old time spell work to help them reach the levels that they're at now. She's using nothing more than neurolinguistics. That is spell work. Which neurolinguistics is a form of speaking and a form of language that leads people to certain actions or to certain beliefs about society, politics, and life in general. And a lot of politicians use neurolinguistics. So do a lot of social media influencers and people like Sonny Hostin who are on panels, political panels like The View. They use neurolinguistics. So she wants people to believe that the Republican Party is full of racists and extremists. And this is based upon what that person in Buffalo did, what that grown man in Buffalo did. He's not no kid, he's a grown fucking man. And he comes from a racist family, the Gendron family. And I know who the Gendron family is. And that's all I'm going to say on that. They own a lot of property. They own a lot of property. He came from a well-to-do family. And we don't know what his political affiliation was. So me and my husband, we were talking about how black people have been bamboozled by the Democratic Party using neurolinguistics. Now, he doesn't know anything about any of that, but I know what's going on. That's a form of spell work and mind control. Using words to manipulate you to believe something that's not true. And this is done on a mass fucking level. But to refer to the Republican Party as extremist and to ignore the extremist behavior of liberals and Democrats throughout history, including Hillary Clinton and her husband, but they all loved them, even though Bill Clinton, he created a bill or a law that was detrimental to the black community that you can go and look up. What is it called? The 3 strikes and you're outlaw? But black people don't examine that. They just loves them some Hillary Clinton and some Bill Clinton, child. They just loves them. And I don't love, let me be clear, I'm not in love with the Republican Party. I'm just pointing things out. How we've been bamboozled to believe things that may not even be true. And this ties into the culture of cultism, not occult, but cultism, where you believe and follow whomever is the catch of the fucking day, or whoever is the fad of the day. We've become a plastic society that you can take and shape and form into whatever you want. They tell you not to eat meat no more and to become vegan. You do it because meat is bad for you. But are you doing that because your spirit and your mind is telling you to do that? Or are you doing that because you saw some motherfucker on YouTube do it? Because veganism may not be right for you. I know it sure as hell ain't right for me. And I don't give a fuck what nobody say. And I'm not attacking anybody that's vegan. If that's what you do, then that's what you do. What I'm saying is you do it because you want to do it, because that's a choice that you make. But you don't have the right, and that's not just with veganism, that's with anything. You don't have the right to go out and try to force stuff on other people. And I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. Now, I'm not saying that Vivica Fox was right in what she said or didn't say in regards to Kevin Samuels' death, but he did say something about her in regards to her relationship with 50 Cent that was not so nice, not so kind, and it was kind of derogatory. So when he passed away, she really don't have no motherfucking love for him. And I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, but what I am going to say is this: she got a right to say what the fuck she want to. Just like he did. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. But why is it when a black woman expresses, because I've been on that side of the fence too. I've been on that side of the fence. I'm not a black woman, but I've been on that side of the fence where some nigga done said some fucked up shit to me Just like something that happened a couple of years ago that I won't name. This nigga was trying to say some fucked up shit, or whatever the case may be. And then I'm supposed to sit back and be sad when this person expires? No. Now, did she have to say that? No, she did not. But at the end of the day, that's her mouth. That's her platform. And she spoke how she fucking felt. But like somebody else said, I think they should have had him come on and she should have debated him. Instead of waiting for him to die, they should have got him on there and debated him. Don't wait until the person dies. I agree with that. But at the end of the day, she had a right to voice what she said. Because it was personal, because he said something personal about her relationship with 50 Cent. They said he roasted her. I don't know. I haven't seen that to confirm that yet, but he probably did because that's how he was. You know what I'm saying? So why are people so upset because she said what she said? I'm in agreement with people who say I'm in agreement with Claudia Jordan, just because somebody dies, I'm not going to pretend like that person was a good person. I'm not talking about Kevin Samuels, of course. I'm talking about people in my personal life. And that's just like my cousin just recently passed away. Now, we had a lot of childhood shit that we used to go through, but he wasn't always nice to me when we were growing up, and he was much older than me. He was 6-7 years older than I was. You know, and it's unfortunate that he passed away, but he wasn't always kind or nice to me. He wasn't. You know, people always say, let's keep it real, but they don't. The only time they want to keep it real, the only time people want to keep it real is when they don't really have to. But when it really comes time for them to keep it real, they don't testify. People can signify, but they can't motherfucking testify. See, I can signify and I can testify. I can do both because I fall short of the glory like every motherfucking body else. I ain't no different. So why are people mad at Vivica Fox is my question. Because she said what she said. She said that in response to him making comments about her relationship with 50 Cent. And whether Vivica was wrong in that relationship or not, that was her relationship. That was her burden or not, or lack thereof. So of course she's not going to feel any compassion for him. Of course she's not. He roasted her. He said some nasty things about her from what I hear. And I know he died and she should have been, maybe, but I understand. I get it. I'm not saying that it's right, but I understand because I've been on that side of the fence. But it's almost as if every time a black woman says something, you know, about someone, everybody's ready to jump on her, but you niggas didn't have that same energy when Abigail Disney was talking foul about motherfucking Kobe Bryant when he died. When she was referring to him as a rapist, y'all didn't have that same energy for her. Same with Snoop Dogg. They attacked Gayle King like raging bulls, threatened her life and everything. But y'all didn't have that same energy for Abigail Disney. Oh, that's right. Snoop Dogg is sitting up on the beach with gay-looking white men now under that gay subliminal energy. You know that Corona? I think it's a Corona beer commercial with him and some gay-looking white boy. The white boy may not be gay, but that commercial has gay vibes. But ain't nobody paying attention to that, how they're promoting black, supposed to be heterosexual men. They're promoting them under this gay energy with all these gay white men, but don't none of you niggas say nothing about that. You rather attack Vivica Fox. And that's your right to do that, but it's my right to say something about it. Why do people think that there won't be a response when a person does something to them. Oh, that's right, because we live in a plastic society now where everyone is supposed to think the same. And no one is supposed to get out of line and say what they feel. I agree, it was too little too late, Vivica. You should have had him come on Fox Soul. I agree with that. But at the end of the day, she said it. And what I'm looking at and what I'm more concerned about is, why do people feel the need why do people think that they have the right to attack if that's how she felt? I remember my friend Christopher Barry, when he and I were having a conversation, he said to me, Seer, I feel like I'm under attack by everybody. He said, with the exception of you. He said, everybody is attacking and hating on the black man all the time. He said, everybody hates the black man. The black man is always under attack. We were sitting in my living room. I wasn't living in the place that I'm living in now. I was living somewhere else. He was sitting in my living room and we were talking about that. And the only thing I could say, because I had compassion for him, the only thing I can look at him and see, and I was rubbing him on his neck and his head, comforting him. I said, I understand. If that's how he felt, that's how the fuck he felt. That's how he felt. Who am I to tell him he shouldn't feel that way? If that's how Vivica felt, that's how the fuck she felt. Who the fuck am I to say, oh, she shouldn't say that because he died? Now, I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying I even agreed with what my friend Chris was saying. But at the end of the day, people have a right to their thoughts. They have a right to how they feel. But because we live in a culture now that says you cannot feel that way, you cannot say that. We live in a culture that says you can't be this way. I know Vivica Fox is under that same agenda and cult and all that. I know that. I get it. I see that. But I'm just looking at it from another perspective to make it broader. How we live in a culture that says you can't say this. You can't say that. Who are these people? That's why I don't want this channel to be monetized. Because I want to be able to say whatever the fuck I want to without having daddy YouTube or mommy YouTube telling me what I can and cannot say. That's why I'm glad this channel is not monetized. I'm actually glad about that. And I don't need the money anyway. I'm good. This is my outlet. Black people were following Black Lives Matter. White people were too. Then come to find out, the lady that was the so-called founder, what was her name? Patrice Cullors? She was stealing money from the fucking organization. That's the ultimate fucking betrayal. So that was built on some bullshit anyway. But nobody can speak on it though, right? Nobody can speak on it. All of this shit is built on plastic. Something that's fake. Just like they told us don't drink faucet water anymore. Faucet water is going to kill you. But it's so motherfucking funny. As soon as people started drinking, I talked about this in another video. As soon as people started drinking more bottled water, more plastic water, now it's coming out now how plastic and bottled water is all bad for you now. As soon as people started drinking more bottled water, cancer rates and all other types of illnesses and diseases started going up astronomically. Because we're listening to all of these motherfucking people. Who are these people? The they sayers. They said this, just like somebody was telling me. As a matter of fact, it was my mother. And you know, we have to look out for our elderly. because they're being bamboozled too. You cannot believe everything that comes across a Facebook feed. I had to get off the phone with my mother earlier today because she told me she saw something on a Facebook feed about Skittles. She likes Skittles. And she said that Skittles had metal in it. I said, somebody's at my door, mother. I'll call you later. Because I didn't want to listen to that motherfucking shit. I didn't want to hear it. Now, I love my mother dearly, but I didn't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. Who are these people? The liars, the bamboozlers, to keep you in a constant circle of fear and uncertainty. That's the biggest motherfucking trick of it all. To keep you in that so they can keep pulling and siphoning off your fucking energy. And when I say they, I mean the people that are responsible for this bullshit. Just like every article on Yahoo, Yahoo is some shit. Yahoo is nothing but a cesspool of negativity. If you read the Yahoo homepage, all of those news stories, you will go crazy. They will have you believing that the world is coming to a motherfucking end. COVID is rising again, and oh, beware, beloveds, it's coming to an end. Oh, no. Who are these people? Who are they? See, in the 1970s, this is what we were warned about. We were warned about this in movies in the 1970s. One particular movie is called The Network with Faye Dunaway, and I believe it was it Bill Holden, one of those old-time actors? And for those who don't know who Faye Dunaway is, that's the lady that played Joan Crawford in Mommy Dearest. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But she won an Academy Award for The Network in 1976 or 1977. And that movie basically foretold what was going to happen in the future, which is now, or in the coming years, with the advent of interconnected technology, the internet, and mind control. And mind control is not really what people think that it is. Mind control is really a set pattern of behaviors that you constantly participate in, and you don't know why, you don't understand why, and you don't know who's perpetrating it behind the scenes. And I'm not talking about no motherfucking government per se. There are shadow governments and over top of governments that we don't even fucking know. There are things going on beyond our comprehension. But because we don't question anything, we don't say anything, we just go along with the flow. We just go along with it. We believe whatever they tell us. I knew that Peyton Gendron was from a well-off family. I knew that from the get-go. When I saw that last name, I said, oh, he's part of the Gendron family. No, I don't know them, but I know what they're about. I know what the Gendron family is about. They racist as a motherfucker. They are racist as a motherfucker. And then they had the nerve to come out with a statement and blame his behavior on COVID. Oh, we don't know why he did that. Yeah, because they're distancing themselves away from Peyton because they don't want people to know. They really didn't want people to know that Peyton was part of their family. But some good reporter out there did their work. And I got even a bigger T on the Gendron family for any I got an even bigger T on them. That they really don't want people to start connecting the dots. But I'm not going to say what it is. I'm very familiar with the Gendron family and their racist activities and their racist behavioral patterns. Very much so. They own property all across the United States, even right here in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, the DMV. They are racist. They are racist. They own management companies and everything else. So when they say that they don't know why Peyton did that shit, yes, the fuck you did. You know why that grown ass man did that shit? Because that's what you motherfuckers taught him to do. You taught him to hate black people and Jewish people and Latino people. You taught him to hate those types of people. And probably poor white people too. So I don't want to hear that motherfucking shit. But that's right, we're going to believe anything that they tell us on the television, or as Madame Delphine Lalaurie said, played by Kathy Bates, that magic box. She said that magic box lies, and she was absolutely right. It does. Barack Obama was probably not even ever the fucking president. That probably was a fucking lie too. Come to think of it. We've become a plastic, I believes anything society. And that's why we're in the predicament that we're in now. We follow people that we should not follow. I don't want nobody following me. That's why I don't give out no info. I don't want nobody following me. Nobody. Especially if it's not worth my motherfucking while, because my energy is valuable. And if you want to be around me and get a little bit of this wisdom, you got to fucking pay me. I'm going to tell you up front for my services, which I don't really fuck with people online, because too many kooks and weirdos online. And if you're broke, I definitely don't want to deal with you. If you're broke, I don't want to talk to you. Simple as that. Because usually if you're broke, you're broken as well. I don't want to talk to no broken and broke people. Simple as that. Because you have to invest in yourself. And if you don't invest in yourself, who the fuck do you think is going to invest in you? And broke ain't always about money. You get my drift? See, y'all probably think I'm talking about money. I said if you're broke, I'm talking about spirit. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Spirit. The word will never change. It will never change. And when I say the word, I'm talking about the spirit. That will never fucking change. Ever. Doesn't matter what you have, it'll never change. We become a plastic society. We become very plastic. We become very complacent. And, you know, it's real. People can try to deny it. They can say, oh, that's not it. But look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. The people that are genuine, that are of a pure heart, that are real, we get pushed to the side. We get mistreated. You know, I remember years ago when I was in school, there was this guy named Damien. He's dead now. And he wasn't he wasn't a good guy. I ain't like him. I didn't like him. He's dead now. Somebody killed him years ago. But I didn't like him. You know, the nigga wasn't no fucking good. And I don't care what nobody say. He wasn't no good. And I remember one of the counselors at the school, because Damien had engaged in activities against me that I didn't like. He was mentally, number one, I'm not going to even say he was mentally ill. Just like they're trying to say that that man up in Buffalo, that grown-ass white boy, Peyton Gendron, that motherfucker wasn't mentally ill. People that are mentally ill cannot carry out something as calculated as what he did. That wasn't mental illness. That was pure racist hatred of blacks, Jews, Latinos, and anybody else. Although in that particular target, in that particular episode, he only went after black people. But it wouldn't have been long before he went after others as well. That was calculated, and that is what has been instilled in that motherfucker since he was a fucking child. There's no mental illness there. He drove there first. He was, what do they call it? He was staking the place out first. Before, he had been there before. He drove 200 miles. That's not a mentally ill person. That's somebody with a clear conscience. With a clear mind, who set their mind to do something, and he did it. There were no mentally ill people there. That motherfucker was not mentally ill. Now getting back to this motherfucking boy Damien. Some people may have said he was mentally ill, but that motherfucker wasn't mentally ill either. He was nasty. He was a nasty ass motherfucking nigga. And one of the counselors gonna say to me, well, that brother has a lot of potential. But see, that's the fucking problem. People can have potential, but it doesn't mean that they deserve to actually be treated as if they do. You have to earn. See, we don't live in a culture where you have to earn things anymore. We don't live like that anymore. Because at one time you had to earn people's respect. You had to earn certain things. But see, what people do is, if they like you, they'll give you a pass. I don't give a fuck if I like you or not. You get no passes from me. You don't get no passes from me, whether I like you or not. No, he didn't have potential. He had potential to be exactly where he is now. His potential didn't help him from going to the grave prematurely. Somebody probably killed him. I don't wish that on him. But that is the result of his bad fucking behavior and his bad fucking choices. Jumping up in people's fucking face and shit. And look where it got him. And this nigga gonna tell me, oh, that brother got a lot of potential. A counselor at my school, because they enable these types of nasty, hateful fucking bullies. They enable them. And then he found someone who outbullied him. And usually that's the case. So no, there was no mental illness with that person, with that piece of trash from that trash bag family. Another thing too, and this is going to get real serious right here, and people can take it how they want. The replacement theory is not really all that far-fetched. That has been the biggest fear of white people for a very long time. You can go back and even read some of Frances Cress Welsing's work, where she talked about the white man's fear, or white people's fear of white genetic annihilation, and how that drove their violence and racism, or motivated their violence and racism against African Americans and Latinos and other people of color as well. Because in a world that is overwhelmingly of color, black, red, black, brown, yellow, and red, this isn't hate against white people, but I'm just explaining their fear. Not agreeing with it, but people want to sweep this thing under the carpet so quickly. Oh no, even Sonny Halston and Whoopi Goldberg, show me proof that white people are being replaced. Their numbers are dwindling. That's the truth. As a matter of fact, there's a report that came out a few years ago that by 2050 or 2060, blonde hair and blue eyes will be extinct. And a lot of this hatred and a lot of this fear is because of interracial intermingling between black men and white women primarily. Because white men don't feel the same way about black women the way that black men feel about white men. I mean, white men and white women too, but we're talking about reproducing. White men don't feel the same way about black women, and that's just a fact, and I don't give a fuck who gets mad about it. They don't. And you can see it in the numbers. You can see it in their actions towards black women. Primarily, black women are the ones who try to stick with black men most of the time, you know? But I'm not getting into that subject. That's a messy subject. I ain't getting into that. That's not the fucking point. The point that I'm making is we cannot, and I'm playing devil's advocate, we cannot just sweep this theory that they call a theory of replacement theory. We can't just sweep that under the carpet like that's not happening. Go back to Frances Cress Welsing's theories on color and racism. I read the ISIS papers when I was a teenager. And I read how she broke down how the Christian cross represents the castration of the black man. How the part of the cross that goes across represents the testicles, and the other part that is going down or vertical, I believe that's vertical, that represents the penis. Who's calling me shit? What is this? So we can't be so quick to dismiss that. Who knows? I don't know. Wait a minute. Give me a second. I forgot I got something on the stove, some water boiling. Shit. But anyway, so we cannot be so easy or so quick to dismiss this so-called theory. Because Frances Cress Welsing and other black scholars, they've talked about this fear of white genetic annihilation that they have. And that does drive and motivate their fear and hatred. See, once we start having that conversation, then maybe we can get somewhere. But people want to sweep it under the carpet. Oh no, he's just mentally ill. Giving him a pass of mental illness, giving that thing a pass of mental illness does not work for me. That motherfucker was not mentally ill. That motherfucker was very smart, very intelligent. He knew exactly what he was doing. There was nothing wrong with him. And yes, white genetic annihilation is a real fear that white people have on a subconscious level. And that is why, and I'm going to say in my opinion, they can never truly be for black people. No hate, just truth. Just truth. When someone thinks that you are a threat to their civilization and they think that you are a threat to their very existence, they're going to do everything in their power to take you out. And one of the best ways, one of the best things that racist upper whites have done is turn black men and black women against each other, black women and black women against each other, and black men and black men against each other. That's one of the best things that they've done to ensure their genetic survival. So I don't want to hear no motherfucking shit about that motherfucker being mentally ill. But that's right, I'm not supposed to have this opinion because we're in a plastic society, and really and truthfully, that's not an opinion. That's based upon science. Some of it. Because white nationalists back in the day, they've talked about this. They have a legitimate fear that their numbers are dwindling. And that's not even really an irrational fear. Their numbers are dwindling. They are dwindling. Their birth rates are declining. They keep saying our birth rates are declining. Not as much as theirs are. I read something that over in Italy, the birth rates they've hit like damn near zero. And in other places over in Europe. But we're being bamboozled by Black Lives Matter and all these other plastic people telling us to follow them. But we're not paying attention to the real shit that's going on around us. And that's spell work, bamboozling. That's mind control. Getting you to look at something else while we're doing something else over here, or while something else is going on over here. Yes, white men are, and then they said he was a loner. Most white men are loners and weirdos, and most of them are like that. And I don't give a fuck who's offended by it. There's no alleging in that. Most of them are weirdos and loners. But they're very intelligent and very smart. There's no mental illness there. Them motherfuckers are not mentally ill. Most mentally ill people, like someone pointed out, and you know, a lot of people, Claudia Jordan, I give her kudos. I think it was Claudia Jordan, or was it someone on The View? It was somebody that said, it might have been Sunny Hostin. When Sunny is right, she's right. Most mentally ill people are on the receiving end of abuse and mistreatment and harm. That motherfucker wasn't no motherfucking mentally ill. He committed a calculated act because he comes from a racist, calculated family. The Gendron family. They are racist, they're calculated, and their family is cursed. Not because I'm putting a curse on it. They have a curse on their family. So this thing, and they're mad at Tucker, that guy Tucker Carlson on Fox News. And I'm definitely not no Fox News person, but I don't know why you're mad. He told no lies. He told no lies. Or did he? Wait a minute. Let me re-examine that. Let me take that back on him, because he said something. No, he was calling the guy mentally ill too. So no, I take that shit back. I take that back. But this is a fear that a lot of white racists and white supremacists have. They fear white genetic annihilation. They fear that. And then you dumb motherfucking black men, you running letting these niggas suck your fucking dick. And sucking your fucking essence. You letting them suck the essence out of your fucking dick. These racists. You think just because they suck in your dick that mean they ain't racist? Because you mess with white men more than black women do. Get into it, bitch. Get into it. Let's tell the motherfucking truth and shame the devil. Don't make me start talking in tongues. You love them motherfuckers more than black women do. I know you do. Child, bye. Anyway, let me go fix my motherfucking dinner for me and my motherfucking man, child. This is Sia Grant, aka The Occult View. I said what I said. I stand in what I say. If you vibe with it, I vibe with you. If you don't vibe with it, that's cool too. You can play motherfucking games, but don't play it with me, motherfuckers. That's real motherfucking talk. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Keep it motherfucking real and keep it motherfucking 100. That's all I'm saying. We live in a plastic fucking culture that tells people what to do, what to eat, how to feel, how not to feel. It's no wonder the world is fucking crazy. That's the point. Everybody has a right to to their own point of view, their own spiritual journey. Everyone has a right to that if it doesn't infringe on another person. But that's the problem. Everybody wants to get in somebody else's lane. Then when somebody checks you and puts you back in your fucking lane, it's a problem. Anyway, that's all I have to say, child.